with our river mesh almost ready, what we need to do is we need to assign vertex colors the river mesh, essentially like in areas where there is this water cascades. We might want to have like some foam texture or something, right? So we can store that into the vertex colors. And an additional vertex color is the distance from the edges, right? You can use that inside the shader, whether to give the edges different colors or maybe different opacity. So yeah. First thing, let's invert the cross section here. So we have proper normals. All right. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say, for example, I'm gonna look at the slope. So I'll say calculate slope. Okay. We can play with this curve. So let's see. I'm gonna say use mesh normals. And I'm gonna output it to the slope attribute. And I'm gonna say attribute blur. So we want to blur the slope attribute. I'm gonna take small steps. We might want to invert this. Okay, so I'm just gonna set this here like that. I'm gonna disable pin border points. And increase the step size. All right. Now that looks okay. Let's see. Also, an additional data we can grab here is from our Beaver tutorial Cascade script here. We can assign additional vertex colors. Like for example, let me just enable this and remove this random color thing. Okay, so we're just gonna comment this out. All right, I just set it like this. And then for I'm gonna go to this location here, and I'm gonna say set color attribute to be dini dot vector, and set it something like, let's give it something like this, right? And now we have this area of every water cascade. The bottom side is marked, okay, stored into the vertex colors. We can use that later. And for the rest, what we can do is set it to something like green, right? Oops, something like this. Can maybe even choose to set the previous points, the first part of the region in green, and then the second part of the region in a color like maybe blue. All right, and now this gives you the ability to essentially use these areas in many occasions. Like maybe you want to spawn some particles, maybe you want to spawn, maybe you want the vertex colors, the final vertex colors to use these, right? Like you can say, for example, in the blue areas and in the red area there is foam, so we can use these here, for example, in a bit. All right, so in a bit we're just gonna use this. Okay, now we have calculated the slope, for example, here, and then we're gonna calculate the, let's say, yeah, one last thing here, we shouldn't be overwriting the vertex colors. So let's see, right? Attributes, here we're looking at the normals only. Okay, we're only interested in the normals to transfer. And here we don't want to alter the color attribute. So this gives us this look. Okay, makes sense. All right. Now one last thing we can do is we can store the original slope before blurring here. So I'm gonna say original slope equals slope, and then just after the blurring we can say slope equal original slope, let's say the max between the original slope and slope. Okay. Or maybe, let's see. And because this high contrast thing might not be a good idea. So yeah, maybe I'm gonna leave it like this for now. So next step is we want to calculate the distance from the border. All right, let me just visualize the value. Okay, and I'm gonna set the radius something like this. I would like to invert it. Okay, so I have the edges masked. I'm gonna set this to be linear, right? Or let's set it like to be spline, right? Then I'm gonna say attribute blur. I just output this to gonna call it border, and we will blur border attributes. I'm gonna say border, and we're gonna keep this checked. Right. Okay. Now, with this in place, what we can do is let's see. First, like we want to store areas where foam is meant to spawn in the red channel of the vertex color. So I'm gonna say, for example, attribute rangon, and we're gonna grab the current green channel, for example, or yeah, the current green channel. I'm gonna call it upside, cascade upside, full color green channel, and cascade center gonna be red channel. This one gonna be blue channel, bottom side, right? And here we're gonna say color equals 0. Okay, so set this to 0, and then we're gonna say color cut x, the foam here, okay, gonna be equal slope. All right, let's try to adjust this a little bit. I'll delete this one. All right. And the upside here, we can just add it. And divide it by something like 2, maybe by 10, as you can see the difference. And then the bottom side, we can add it as it is. Okay, you can say attribute blur here for the original color. It will help with the transitions. Maybe by 5. Divided by 2, gonna leave it like that. Okay. Now everything kind of makes sense, right? As you can see, as you get near the cascade, foam starts to blend in, then you have a lot of foam. Then after the cascade, the bottom side obviously is full of foam. So yeah, that should be it. Let's say what else we can do? Yeah, the center here should be also included, I guess. But I'm planning to have some opacity here, right? So maybe, yeah, we'll not add that here. So just I'm gonna say max between these two, even though probably they do not have any close connection. Let's see. Okay, gonna leave it like this. And next one, the next channel, most likely this will be about the edges, right? So I'm gonna say the edges I'm gonna store the board, and we have this. And in the blue channel we can just store the center part of the water cascade. Okay, as you can see, this is how it looks, right? You can use it like for lot of things. Later on, like inside the Unreal shader. Let's see. And maybe I want to contrast it a little bit. Okay. Because I'm only interested in this very specific area here at the very bottom of the water cascade, because I want to add some opacity there, right? Now with all of these in place, all right, we should be ready, I guess. We can say normal soften if you want to, can help. All right, maybe I want to reduce it just a little bit. And I will merge these two. Okay, and I just want to adjust the width here, something like 20. All right, and increase the depth like by 0.5, 0.75, and move this even more down like this, like by 0.75, 0.65. All right. What else we can do? Let's see. Yeah, in the water cascade area here, I might want to push the vertices forward a little bit. So to do that, all we have to do is just go to our attribute wrangle and then just say we want to push the position. Gonna say we're gonna push it in the direction of the normal, and let's try to do that first. And I'm gonna multiply this with the slope, right? So we have something like this. We can try to use this mask instead. Yeah, maybe this is not the best idea. Yeah, maybe just use the slope attribute. And I'm gonna multiply it by border. Oops, not this one. I'm gonna multiply this by the border. I'm gonna say 1 minus border. All right. I see something divided by 2. Okay. A by half a unit. 0.875. Okay, this should be fine. And as you can see the difference, I'm gonna set this normal sound somewhere here. Even maybe before calculating the slope and everything else. Alright, this looks correct. I just want to set this smaller value. And let's check the this area here. Right, as you can see, this is the canyon, and as you can see, it looks much better now with the adjustments we did. The very end here, you can, if you want, you can just set it to use single polygon. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it a single polygon. And with all of this done, I guess we're ready to move to Unreal and, you know, set up the material and everything. But just one last point you need to take into consideration is this tutorial specifically deals with the water cascading issue, right? Like, we are not, as you can see, we are not dealing with intersection. We are not dealing with multiple rivers, right? Because ideally what you want to do is to have this river as a separate tool, and then you need to have some kind of manager that takes as input all of these rivers, and then figure out the intersections and deform the terrain. And yeah, regarding the terrain deformation, you might want to use Unreal edit layers, right? But for now, we're just gonna like have this Houdini generated landscape, and yeah, ideally you want to use it alongside the Unreal edit layers, so like you can have so you can like change your river and have its deformation saved into a separate layer. It's more like a non-destructive workflow. So that's how probably most likely it is used in AAA studios. But for now, you should be fine with this.